depending on the business that you're running, or like how you have to come off to people, that would determine if you can be a little more on the informal side. And also depending on the type of people that you're dealing with.
Oh yeah, with your
like
business.
With your business, I know your customers are more like older family oriented environment. Do you ever have to worry about what you post online because you're like clients?
I realize I always forget about her. I have this one client, like one of our first clients. She's cool though. I don't think she cares. But like I forgot I had her on my Facebook, and I was like, and I was like, wait. I was like, I don't post bad stuff. And I was like, she's okay.
Sometimes I worry about mine, but because sometimes I do say some out of line things, but on Instagram I've kind of calmed down. It's mostly Twitter.
I haven't seen it, but Twitter, I feel like Twitter's the space you can do that for. That's like what it's for.
So maybe some business professionals that I deal with will find my Twitter, but that's just something I'm willing to risk because my YouTube is a lot of...
You're also like a person too.
Yeah, older humor. And they don't have to do a podcast with me if they don't want to. You know, they can just say no. Yeah. It's not like they're wanting to be a client.
Yeah, it's like they have the option to. They can choose to or not.
Yeah. Again, like whenever a business owner is coming on, like you, like now you're associating yourself with my podcast, and the business owners that are now have to kind of take that into consideration and probably watch my other content to make sure it's something that aligns,
that they want to be part of.
Yeah,
but it's not bad. I like your content.
Really,
you learn a lot from it. I've learned a lot from it, so that's why I was like, you're not too, that's why I was like, there's informal and then too informal. I don't think you crossed that line to too informal.
Like, and also OnlyFans.
That's what me and Tyler were talking about, because I mentioned to him, I was like, there's all these Carpentry girls, because we were talking about it too, and I was like, they just take pictures with their boobs out, and then they get all these followers. And then Tyler was like, but do they get orders? And I was like, but if you think about it, they bring more attention. It brings more attention to their page, and then people that actually want to buy it aren't just thirsty. It pops up on their feed too because other people are seeing it. And I was like, so I think it correlates. Yeah. So the thirst, you still get orders out the thirst. And he was like, true. Oh, and he was like, should we do it? And I was like, see, that's where I'm like, I don't know if we should, because that's what I was talking about. We're family business. Exactly. And I was like, I think we can, but we have to be like careful about it. He's like, we should just have Blanca pose on our stuff. And I'm like, I'm saying it.
I think it's different whenever your clientele is more family oriented. They probably want to go to a business that is more like clean cut versus someone like showing more skin.
That's what Tyler was talking about. He's like, but do people still buy stuff from them? And I was like, I feel like they do, because they have all these followers and like all this content. So I feel like it does like balance out. And I was like, but it's different for them because it's just a single female carpenter. Yeah. Like she doesn't have like a family behind her. It's just her. And I was like, I don't know. There has to be a balance. I'm like, I'm sure there's something we can do. But like,
you could use your looks to your advantage without it being like...
mentioned it, and I was like, I think we should try it.
You could keep it very clean. Very family oriented. That way, because marketing is all an attention game. So, but then, is the attention converting? That's interesting. You could test it out, but if you do cross like that overly sexualized boundary, then it might be a little hard to come back from that. It's like once you're in it, you're in it.
You're like, go for it.
If you're gonna do it, commit to it 100%.
For sure. But that's what we're talking about. Bring that up. But so
and is it usually men or women that place the orders
like
in
with
the household?
Us? I don't know. Now that you think about it, now that you say something, I'm like thinking. I think it's more even, but it's like as a team they do it. Like the husband will find it, but be like, okay, let me ask my wife about the colors, or the wife will find it and be like, let me ask my husband about the measurements, or if it's okay to spend this much money. So it's like a team.
They
team
like effort.
They both like
I bet, I don't know. I can't imagine like a really masculine man or masculine woman saying like, hey, I think we should decorate our doors a certain way.
Right.
I don't know. But it's super cute. I've always loved all of your work.
Thank you.
I still remember like to this day the first couple of, I think it was shelves You guys did?
The first thing we did, oh my god, it was so bad. It was like a piece of wood, and then he was trying to make like the wall hang. Yeah, that's so cute. That's it was executed hipster. Wrong though. Like the rope was supposed to be thinner and longer, and it should have been wider so you could put more stuff on it. I was like, Tyler, you didn't execute that the way. Okay, he was like, I was trying. Okay, it was my first project.
It was super
We still
cool.
took pictures of it and stuff, and I was like, we're gonna try it.
No, it looked really nice.
But then we moved to like the metal leg shelves, and that's what started getting people's attention.
Okay.
That industrial farmance thing, everybody's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we've been doing.
And the farm doors.
Yes,
super
everyone
cute.
Loves those. It's crazy.
Wait, they're called barn doors, right?
Yeah, sliding barn doors because they slide.
How has COVID affected your business?
Not at all. It was so
That's
weird.
amazing.
It's like when people were stuck in their houses, they're like, okay, what can I do to make my house look better? And so they would see our ads and be like, hey, I want a door. Does the door fit here? Can I put one here? Like, there's so many people that are like, can I put one here? What about here? Can I put one there?
Just
I'm
like
oh
anywhere where it's possible.
So I think it like helped because people were at home and they were like
sitting at home staring at their doors.
I think that would look cool if I had a sliding barn door there. And so yeah, we've gotten a lot of orders.
That's
like right
amazing.
now we're booked out until August 1st.
Wow.
It's like a whole month and it's crazy.
Cow.
Yeah.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you. It's crazy. But now we're like at the point where like, okay, so we have all these orders, we need to grow, but how do we grow? Like what's the next step to growing?
Okay.
So now we're like, okay, what do we do?
Would you consider hiring someone?
That's what we were talking about, and he was like, but it'd be weird to have them come to our garage, so I feel like we need to get a space first and then hire someone.
Yeah.
But we were talking about getting into a routine, because like right now it's he builds and then I stain at night, so I watch the kids while he builds, and then when I stain he watches the kids. So we were thinking about hiring someone to help him build while he builds, because we're like gonna switch it up to like where we build everything at the beginning of the week and then paint and stain everything in like the middle and then do deliveries at the end of the week and like install everything. That's our plan. We don't know if it's gonna work. We haven't done it yet. It's just like what we're thinking.
Pretty good.
So we're gonna have the person work with us like 9 to 5 and build with Tyler at the beginning of the week, and he's gonna train him to build, and then paint and stain with me in the middle of the week, and then Tyler will just install by himself.
Okay.
And have the dude probably help him like carry stuff, because we like deliver media consoles and stuff too, but Tyler wants to do the installing because he was like, we could get sued, and I was like, yeah.
Really? Why?
Because like we drill stuff into people's walls, so if the door falls and like completely like if it gets installed wrong, because you have to do it, you can't see it, but there's beams in your walls that are for support, and so if you don't drill into the support beams, you're just drilling into the wall, so the door will just come down. Yeah, so
that makes sense.
Yeah, so if they don't know what they're doing, the whole door will fall, and then there'll be a whole huge wall hole, and it'd be bad. So yeah, that's our idea so far, so we'll see how it works.
Okay, and you and Tyler manage this whole operation by yourselves right now.
It's just us. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's fucking crazy. It's insane sometimes. Our schedule's packed. Like we have 5 to 7 things every day. Like every day. Like, well, because we build a day and then we install. So like it's every other day that we have 5 to 7 things. And so this lady's like, can you fit me in? You gotta try and squeeze me in. I'm like, Tyler, don't squeeze her in. Don't tell her anything. I'm like, I know the schedule. I was like, don't do it. So I'm just sitting there looking at her. And I can hear her, and she's like, can I talk to your like schedule rep? And like maybe he was like, I'm gonna tell you this right now. She's stricter than I am. Like she'll be mean to you.
Oh, he knows.
He's like, she'll straight up tell you what I'm telling you, but not in a nice way. He's like, she's really strict on the schedule, and I was like, let her message me. I was so mad.
I love how your dynamic works with Tyler so much, because it's like you're very bold and assertive.
And
he's very quiet, but he still like gets shit done. I feel like you guys are a great team.
Like balance the yin and yang.
Yeah,
definitely.
How long has So-Tex been in business? About a year now?
Almost a year in October, yeah.
How has that affected your relationship with Tyler?
We've grown a lot. Like,
together
a lot. At first, it was a lot of butting heads, because at first it sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked. It was hard. Like, we didn't know how to schedule. Like, I didn't know how to schedule. I was like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what you can do in a day. Like, I don't know how much you can build. So it was bad.
It's all trial and error.
And then it was just him scheduling in the beginning, and he's terrible. He doesn't write anything down. He said he was doing it in his head. I was like, that is why you were losing orders. We would lose orders, customers would be mad and be like, you told me this day, and then we'd be like, who is this? Like, I don't even know who this is.
Who told you that?
Yes. And Tyler would be like, I don't know.
Aww.
There was one day I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, you're driving me nuts. And because I was still at Chick-fil-A, so I couldn't help him. So finally I was like, that's when we were doing the interview with you. We were like, okay, we're just going to have to quit and help me because I don't know what I'm doing.
How has it been since the last interview?
It's been crazy.
That was in February?
We've grown a lot. I was listening to it the other day, and we were still talking about, I don't know what we were talking about.
You guys are
getting a space.
A website.
And,
a space.
We're doing the website finally. It's going to be like $3,000, but we're doing it. Tyler's doing it, I think. I don't know. I told him to wait.
Do you know what he's using?
We're using Somebody. Like 1,000 pictures. It's either the babies or like doors.
Love it.
I have to like squint and look.
I love it. Is that a baby or a door?
Yeah, I can't tell. It's information, and like I screenshot orders sometimes. Like I'll be like messaging people, so I'll screenshot to remember. I have so many screenshots. I'm like, is that like tea or is it an order? I can't.
What are some things that you've learned in this since the last time we touched base in February?
A lot. How to schedule. Scheduling was a big one. Like we learned pretty much that not to overbook ourselves, because Tyler loves to like just take orders and be like, we can do this, we can get like 10 doors out in a day. I'm like, no you can't, it's just you and me. So it's been a lot of learning how to work together, and kind of like Tyler is very like an overachiever. Like, he likes to look at the big picture, and I'm like, no, focus back in, we got smaller goals to reach the bigger goal. So that's been another thing we've been working on, and I've learned to like bring him back down. Like,
that always works, because you have to have the visionary, and then you have to have the integrator. So you're the integrator that's like, hey, I understand, but we're right here right now, and this is what needs to happen. He's
like, let's get a website now, and I'm like, okay, we'll get more orders, but we're still booking out a month. Like, that's not gonna help right now. I was like, right now we need a space or a trailer. I'm like, come back, Tyler, because he was like, if we don't do a website, let's do a commercial. I'm like, Tyler, no
space.
I'm like, come back, where are you? I'm like, no. Okay, I'm like, okay, we'll get all those orders from this commercial, then what?
Do you think because you guys are younger also it helps with staying on top of trends and stuff like that?
Yeah, we're trying different things. Like we like I go on Pinterest, and I'm like, look, Tyler, look at this. That's how we found the coffee table. That coffee table for $100. I'm like, dude, look at this. He's like, is it metal legs? And I'm like, no, it's wood legs. And he was like, dude, we could sell that for cheap. I'm like, let's do it. It's been really weird because people also don't take us as seriously because we're so young. Like, people have come to pick up doors and they ask me, oh, is this your dad's house? Is it your dad that does all this stuff? And I'm like, no, it's my husband.
You like, both look very young too. You both are very young. That's amazing.
Tyler's about to be 25 on the 11th, and then I'm 23. I think. Gotta remember, I'm
it's been a while.
Oh, no.
That's amazing though. You guys are owning businesses at the age of 23 and 25 with that's 2 kids. Or is it 3?
It's 2.
It's 2.
Don't say 3.
I'm
Dude,
sorry.
you're scaring me. Okay, my mom yesterday, she came over and she goes, are you pregnant? And I'm like, I was really high. So I was like, no. She's like, your eyes look sunken in. And I'm like,
God, no.
I was like, please don't say that. I don't want one. And Tyler was like, that'd be so cool. I'm like, no, it's not. No. I'm like getting nauseous thinking about it. No, he even told me, he's like, yeah, I want to throw up. I don't want another baby.
My God.
I'm like, exactly, so shut up.
How are they?
They're good. They're big. They're crazy. Isabella just talks too much. Too much. And then so Robbie's just frustrated all the time because he's like teething, so his mouth hurts. But
fighting stuff.
Yeah, and rolling everywhere.
What's it like to be a mom and also
MOMTREPRENEUR?
Yes.
That's what I call myself.
Oh, that's so cute.
I'm a MOMTREPRENEUR. I don't know. I think it's funny because like it's so weird because I have all these mom friends and all they do is just take care of their kids, and I'm like, I couldn't do that. Like, I just couldn't. Like, I love that we own our own business because like I can sit at home and take orders and like turn around and be like, hey, stop hitting your brother. and then get back to work and like take another order.
That is
like,
the fucking
that's all
life.
I do all day is I just sit on my computer and take orders. All these moms are like, no, I can't do anything. All I do is take care of my kids. I don't have a life outside of it. I'm like, I do. You just don't
you
want
have
it
a hell of a life.
Yeah, I'm like, you can do it. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it how people like limit themselves because once they have kids, they can't do it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you can't travel once you have kids. You can't own a business once you have kids. And I'm like, you can. You just gotta find a balance, and you have to find out how to like make it work.
Yeah.
Because at first it wasn't. My mom had to take care of the kids, while me and Tyler tried to figure out how to like get it started and
learn the ropes. Yeah.
And so like they were watching them. And then I even had a babysitter at one point, and now we're talking about another babysitter because like it's hard because you gotta like figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
But I also like balancing, like I can spend time with them. Like me and Tyler both spend equal amounts of time with them.
You can choose when to.
Yeah.
Too. That's really nice.
Me and Tyler were talking about. We were sitting at dinner, and I was like, "Do you think we'd have any of this if we didn't have the kids?" And he was like, "No." He was like, "We weren't even doing anything."
That's so interesting.
Like we didn't have like a plan. We didn't have a drive. We were just kind of like. But once we had kids, we were like, shit, we gotta pay bills, we gotta provide, like, we have to make it, like, what he said, like, you either pay the bills or you broke.
Yeah.
And I was like, we have kids, we gotta pay the bills somehow.
Yeah.
And so we figured, we worked for his dad, and then and so we started doing our own thing, and so.
That's so interesting. I love that.
Yeah, because I feel like if it wasn't for them, we would just be like,
yeah.
I don't know what it would be. Honestly, it's
that's
weird
crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And now you guys have a house.
We're hopefully getting our own house soon. We're renting that house, but we have enough to where we can like put a down payment on a house soon. So we're gonna start looking. Hopefully.
That's amazing.
And then my car broke, so I'm getting a Tahoe in August. I'm pretty excited.
Ooh,
yeah, I know.
yay.
I know, because I told Tyler, I was like, I want a Chevy like yours, and he's like, why don't you just get a Tahoe? And I was like, what is that? And he's like, same thing, just bigger version. And I was like, oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
I was like, I didn't know, but okay. I was like, sounds good. And it's just so weird because, like, we've grown now to where we're comfortable, and before it was paycheck to paycheck. Like, we'd struggle, and, like, I remember one time I ordered on Uber Eats, so I was pregnant, and Ty was freaking out, and he's like, dude, we're, like, barely, like, meeting it. Like, you can't do that. And, like, now we just order shit all the time.
Whatever.
It's weird. It's so weird.
That's so exciting.
Like he's like, yeah, we're gonna get the Tahoe in August. I'm like, are you sure we can swing it? Like, are you sure? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, are you sure? Because like, I don't see the bank account. Like, I never do. It freaks me out. I'm like, don't tell me. So Tyler does. And I'm like, are we okay? And he's like, yeah, we're fine. I spent the weekend with my friend for her birthday a couple weekends ago, and I like dropped $400 just buying stuff. And then the next day, Tyler went to Walmart and bought a 70-inch TV for like $600. And I'm like, are we broke? And he's like, no, we're still fine. And I'm like, what? I'm like, we've never been, like, before we would be like, we'd save up, like we'd wait for like tax season or tax return. I remember we'd
to buy things.
Yeah, we stayed up all night waiting for my tax return to come in to get a new Xbox. Like, it was, and like, it's just weird. It's weird,
it's just,
like the
whenever.
change.
And that wasn't over a year. Oh my god.
That's why it's so surreal. I'm like, how is this happening
I want other people to listen to this, and they're gonna get so fucking excited.
I know, that's why I'm like, I hate when people I'm like, you can do it. Just find something you love and go for it.
Do it.
Like, it's scary as fuck, but you just gotta do it.
Yeah. And it's slow at first. A lot of people don't want to deal with the slow period in the beginning when it's hard fucking work. Like, you would stay up until 2-3 a.m.
Yes, I would say. I remember the first big order we had, it was like a big 10-foot table. It almost didn't fit in the garage, and 8 doors. I stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning doing all of it by myself. And Tyler had to wake up at like 5:30 to go start getting ready to go install it. And I was like, it was crazy. He was like, you stayed up? And I'm like, yes. It was like cans of Red Bull everywhere. I was like, I'm awake. I'm going to sleep now.
A lot of people don't want to deal with like that period of learning. Also, being an entrepreneur, it's not like business school, and because you have your own unique business that now you have to adapt and build processes and delegate whatever responsibilities you guys are gonna have, and then it's all learn as you go.
There's no handbook. Like, there's no, like, you gotta figure it out, because like every business, like carpentry is different than baking. Like, we don't need the same stuff, we don't do the same measurements.
How do you stay positive all the time?
It's hard sometimes. Sometimes it's hard. And it's hard when it's two people, because it's me and Tyler. And sometimes Tyler gets upset. And I'm like, okay, Andrea, you got to stay positive. Because he needs to lean on you. If y'all are both sad, y'all both aren't going to get anything done. Yeah. So it's like, it's having to be there for him and him having to be there for me when we, like, need each other. Because sometimes Tyler gets overwhelmed. There was a couple times where he was like, we're not going to do this anymore. Aww. Like, we're just not going to do this anymore. We can't do this. And I was like, yes, we can. It sucks now. It was a shitty customer. It's okay. Our biggest thing is, like, we hate getting bad reviews. Yeah. And then there's some customers that are just rude and really hard to please. Mean. Like, this lady, it was, like, the most perfect white door I've ever done. Like, perfect white door. This lady wasn't there to see it get installed. Her sister was there. And she FaceTimed her sister, and her sister was like, it's ugly. It looks ugly. And like, she didn't even see it. She wasn't there to see it. Yeah. She saw it through FaceTime. I'm like, you can't see anything through FaceTime. Yeah. Like, you can't. And so she was like, I want my money back. And Tyler's like, I installed it. And like, that's our thing. Like, after we come out, installed. That's it. It's final. Yeah. Like, after you install, pay for it, and look at it. Like, they had already paid for it and looked at it and approved it. Like, Tyler's thing is like, I don't force them to pay me. I wait for them to tell me how much do I owe you. Yeah. And until that is said, I don't go, hey, my money, or hey, are you gonna pay me? No, he waits, and he's like, okay, I'm done. And he waits for them to be like, okay, how much do I owe you? Yeah. And then he's like, do you like it? And if they say yes, then they pay. If they say no, they don't have to pay. Yeah. That's the only struggle, is like, they don't know what they're getting. Yeah. So that's why we think like the website would work better.
Doing like, a mock-up virtually.
Because right now we just have like old pictures of previous things we've done, and like, hey, this is a bunch of pictures of the color. Yeah. This is what it might look like, because every batch is different. Yeah. They're all about the same tone, but sometimes they come out a little lighter, a little darker. And so I'm like, this is what it'll look like. This is what the design looks like on other doors, blah, blah, blah. I try to send a lot of pictures. Yeah. Tyler did that order, so that's why they probably didn't like the color. Because he's just kind of like, here are colors, figure it out.
Yeah, it doesn't like warn them, like, disclaimer, these are
I'm like, hey, different. The gray looks kind of blue. The white is farmhouse white.
I've been wanting to interview more women entrepreneurs because they say it's a man's world. It's definitely shifting. But initially, women were not allowed to own businesses or land or vote, you know? So I am very prideful of my femininity and want to meet other women entrepreneurs. But I love the shift, and I love that, like, you're able to be a mom and an entrepreneur. Yeah. And it's just amazing.
It's so weird because, like, still, like, even Tyler's uncle commented the other day, like, when it's a family business, if there's a male, they always think it's the male that started it. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I started it.
You're the one that was like, Tyler, we're good.
Yeah, we're gonna do this, and you're just gonna fucking go with it, okay? Like, just make it happen. Like, his uncle commented, and he was like, oh, your business is going so well, or they'll go, oh, Tyler's doors are so good. I'm like,
guess who's behind the scenes?
I think I commented something finally.
Not even behind the scenes. They're just not wanting to look at the woman component.
That's the thing. Like, okay, so I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I also do stuff for the business the whole day, full time. But they don't see that. They just think I just sit at home with the kids.
That's insane.
That's why I call myself a momtrepreneur. I'm like, they don't know it, but these $1,000 orders are me. Yeah. Tyler can't take orders. He doesn't have time. I'm the one taking orders.
You're the sales.
Yeah, I'm like,
and marketing.
He makes me mad sometimes, and I'm like, all you do is build. Shut up. He's like, that's not fair. Like, don't make me mad then. I'm like, you want orders or not? And he's like, he just looks at me all side-eyed, like, whatever.
That's so funny.
So yeah, it's like, I had to finally call. Like, I was talking to him about it. I was like, people don't realize that they just think it's you. And I'm like, and I feel like that happens a lot with like family companies. It might be the woman that started it, but if there's a guy involved, they're like, oh, good job, dude. Like, it's your company. You did great. I'm like, no, it's mine.
There's even a saying that's like, behind every successul man is a strong woman. It's like, no, she's not behind him. She's probably in front of him.
She's the one shoving him to do it.
We have to speak a little louder to be noticed. That's why I'm so happy that I'm continuing this podcast on my own, and bummed out that the other one didn't continue, but it kind of reminded me that I need to keep going, like, no matter
You don't need somebody else. You don't need a teammate. I just have Tyler because he's my teammate. But yeah, like, because, like, people always talk to me and they're like, okay, so what happens if y'all break up? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, if we get a divorce, I guess.
Don't think about that. Why put it out there?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, don't put it in the world.
No.
And I'm like, well, I guess, I've, like, talked to him about it. I'm like, what would happen? And he's like, first off, it's not going to happen, but, and he's like, I don't know. And, like, I don't know. I feel like I would start my own business on my own. If he didn't want to work with me still.
You've learned so much. Like, you've gathered all of these skills now.
Because I don't think I could just go back to working a 9 to 5. I mean, I would at first to save up for whatever I wanted to do, but then I'd totally start up another company. I feel like once you build a company, you just can't.
It's easier the second time. Once you get the taste of that freedom,
you just want it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it makes you work harder because you love that freedom.
Yeah.
Like,
and you know that it's all based on your work, like your direct work. Like, what you put in, you get out.
People don't see that
now or later.
They just see the success. Like you said, I feel like you said that in one of the podcasts. Like, they just see, the brand new car, the brand new this, the brand new that, but they don't see you staying up all night long or, like, messaging all these customers.
Yeah, like, I've been going out, like, the past, I've been going, not traveling, but, like, just, like, hanging out with, kind of traveling, I don't know.
In the area.
Different, like staycations.
Yeah.
A lot. A lot of people are like, wow, you're always moving around, and it's like, but you don't
that's what life's about. Like, I love it. Like, I love that you move around. Because, like, if I didn't have kids, that's what I would be doing. You live once. Like, get all the experiences you can.
Yeah.
While you can.
I do that.
I think that's awesome.
And then people are like, you're so lucky, like, you have, like, the life that I want, like, you're living the dream.
You can do it too.
But it's like, dude, I'm working so hard to, like, you can do it too, but you choose not to because it's so fucking hard.
It is
like,
hard.
when you're at rock bottom and you're the only one responsible for feeding yourself and, like, shelter and your car and all your responsibilities, there's, like, it's so easy.
Scary.
It would be so easy to just say, hey, I'm gonna go and, like, not, and just get paid consistently to do something and not really grow.
Yeah, just do the same thing every day.
Yeah, to repeat patterns.
Every day.
It's easier to follow than to lead.
Like, a lot of people at Chick-fil-A, it's funny you say that because, like, they all have degrees and they've gone to school.
Wow.
The leaders, and they just work there every day. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? Y'all went to school, y'all have an education, but y'all are still working a 9 to 5, getting minimum wage.
Yeah. It's up to them, right?
Yeah.
Saying, like, it's just not for us.
I guess.
And it'll never be for us.
It just makes me mad. Like, you have the education, you have the knowledge.
Yeah.
Use it. You paid that much money for that piece of paper.
Yeah.
Use it.
I used to get really bothered by it, honestly. But now I'm just like, okay, they choose not to, so it's fine.
Did I forget?
It used to bother me because I just feel like I love that we are the human species that are made to create, literally, that are very artistic and just self-expression in general. And I feel like working consistently, doing something so repetitive that we don't enjoy every day, I just feel like there's so much more than that. Yeah. Like, we're meant to do greater things. We're meant to pursue things that we love to do. And so it used to make me upset, but now I'm just like, okay, it's their responsibility to break out of that if they choose to, and if they don't, then that's their responsibility too.
Because it's weird, because, like, then people look at you differently. Like, it's happening now. Like, Arsh was talking about it, and you've talked about it. Like, once you get to a certain point, people are like, I had this girl tell me I was lucky. She's like, you just got lucky with your business, and I actually have to go to school to get what I want. And I was like, okay.
I would get so pissed.
I was mad. I was like, if you think it's luck, you're honestly funny. And I'm like, I like didn't even know what to say. I made a post about it on Facebook. I was so mad. I was like, it's not luck. It's hard work, and it sucks. Like,
super hard work.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Like he said, you have to have faith. Like, there's some days where you're just like, I can't fucking do this anymore. But you just gotta keep going. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
And some people don't. They're not disciplined like that. It's so weird. Like, I don't know if it's just because we're Hispanic, but we were raised to be super hard working.
Hispanic women are such hard asses. Like, we will work. And we're smart.
Yes, our moms taught us to be clever. They'd be like, don't be stupid. Watch what they're doing. Like, they're playing games. You just gotta, You have your eyes open.
I love that.
But yeah, I think that too, because like, no offense to the white girls I know, but all the white girls I know, they just like sit at home and they have babies. Like
American culture is just so much more relaxed.
Like,
I think,
I don't want to do that. I don't want to just sit at home with kids. Like, I love my kids, but I don't just want to sit at home and do that.
Not that much. Just kidding.
And like, 2 checks are better. Like, I've always thought that 2 checks are better than 1. If it's just one person working, that person's gonna be fed up all the time and mad all the time. Whereas,
especially now.
And like, you get separated because you don't see yourself as a team, especially in relationships. Like, me and Tyler, we're a team. Everything's half. Like, he takes care of the kids, I take care of the kids. We both bath time, split bath time. He's been doing bath time more often than me. I don't want to do it. But like, we try to keep everything like to where we're a team, so he doesn't feel like he's doing more and I don't feel like I'm doing more, because that's when you get resentful.
Yeah.
And then you start getting angry at each other, and like, and I feel like that's how a lot of my friends' relationships are. And I'm like, it's because y'all don't come together with something. You don't have like something you both want. It should be the kids, but kids are annoying, so it's like I guess
maybe we can say that.
Yeah, like, we're doing it for the kids. But yeah, like, there's not that common thing that they like want to work towards. So that's why a lot of people, I feel like, stay in the same place, because they don't have goals to get like grow bigger, to grow. Like, you have your goals, I have my goals. We know what we want and how big we want to get.
Yes.
And like, people, I feel like they get to a point and they're like, okay, I have the house, the car, the kids, that's all I want. I'm like, no, you should want more than that.
There's more. Yeah. What's after that? They're gonna want more after that.
And like, don't you want to provide more for your kids? Like, me and Tyler always talk about this, because like, my mom would never buy me anything at stores. Izzy gets absolutely everything she wants at the store. Everything. Like, even a lollipop at the counter at the very end. And I'm like, my mom, I'd have to beg her to give me a candy at the store. Like, it's so different. Like, but you also have to stay humble. I think that's like a hard thing.
Yeah.
It's like, how, like you were saying, like, how do you say, hey, look, I've made it, but without being like too cocky, like, hey, look, I've made it, but not made it.
I even feel insecure like flexing on Instagram.
Really?
Like, I don't.
I think you do it pretty well. You don't do it like
sometimes, like on my story.
I don't think it's not bad when you do it. Like, I don't know how to do it. I'm like, how do I, like, the other day when I posted a picture of all like Robbie, I was like, this is my subtle flex. I'm like, look at my living room set. I'm like, Robbie loves Elmo, look. Someone actually did message me there. It was my brother, but he was like, your living room's nice. I'm like, thanks.
Hell yeah, you know it is.
Yeah.
Now you got it.
And then when I posted Tyler's truck, I was like, hopefully that's not like a bad flex.
No.
I'm doing it anyways. So.
I don't think there's such thing as a bad flex whenever it's not empty. Like, a lot of people flexing on Instagram, it's like not their stuff that they're flexing, or it's like not genuine. They didn't work for it.
Yeah.
I think that's completely different than working for it, buying yourself something and then posting about it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy. And imagine where you'll be in 5 years.
I know. I don't even, it's so surreal. Everything's so surreal. Like, I'm like, how are we growing so fast? We used to not get any messages. Now on our like Facebook, like our business Facebook, there's like 5 to 6 messages every day. Like, every day.
That's
and I'm
amazing.
like switching from account to account, because we have like different accounts we post on. And so, because you get kicked out if you post a certain amount of times a day. So we're like, if we have different accounts, they can't kick us off. Yeah. And so I'm like switching through accounts. It's just been crazy. Like, the amount of orders we get are insane. Like, I'm like, where are these people coming from? Like, how are they? It's a blessing, but it's crazy. It's a crazy blessing.
That's awesome. And where can people find you online?
People can find us on Facebook, So-Tex, So-Tex Carpentry on Facebook.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll link everything below, you guys. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and review. And thank you so much for listening to Tough Luck with Dasanti.